A motion and a second for approving the agenda as amended. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Okay, now we're back on item number 5 for the burn ban. Ms. Kelly for the introductions.
Thank you, Chair Herrera and committee members. For the record, Andrea Kelly, council staff. Although we are still 11 days away from summer, we are in the midst of a heat advisory, and I know fireworks and fire in general, fire preparedness is something that the members get a lot of constituent communication about. So we have a timely presentation from Fire Marshal Ken Rice with Department of Emergency Management to present on summer safety. This presentation will include resources for you to pass along when you receive that constituent communication and clear directives on what is and isn't allowed as the season continues.
All right, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair, council members. Thanks for having me here. And I'm now a member of Planning and Public Works.
Oh,
no
I'm
longer
sorry.
DEM. That's okay.
Thank you.
The realignment. It's been great.
Okay.
So I just wanted to talk to you guys briefly. We put together just a 4-slide presentation, kind of hit on burn ban, fireworks, some of the stuff we're going to come across in the summer season. So if Brian could change the slide. And I did not. I put all together the information for this, but Christina is like a rock star magician putting this stuff together. So she gets all the credit for the for the presentation. So we're going to talk about fireworks, burn ban. I had to throw weed burning in. You'll know why when I get there. And then wildland fires. Next slide, please. So, coming into fireworks season, and I know that we had opened the window up for applicants, which really helped staff, reduced a lot of stress, didn't take people out of the queue to get their permits done, so it's worked really well. A couple more tweaks I want to do for next year. I want to, and it's not policy driven, Planning and Public Works put together a class for people to draw site plans out, how to do it correctly. So I want to do like how to apply for a fireworks stand class. We'll probably do 1 or 2, in the spring to get people, because there's still some issues with insurance and how to get that stuff submitted. But it's 85% better than it was last year. So thank you for approving that. We know the discharge time, July 4th, between 10 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. And we hope people are respectful for that so people can get their sleep when needed. Please only use legal fireworks. I know there's a lot of other ones out there, but we did have a young man lose his life last year in Pierce County, a 15-year-old, because of a firework. They're pretty, they go up and they make pretty, but they're explosives. I mean, end of the day, that's what they are. So if you light one and it doesn't go off, don't go pick it up. Don't try and relight it. Just wait, get water on it, stay distance from it. Just be safe with them. Be responsible. Clean up your mess, please. We don't need litter. People in the neighborhood don't appreciate it. Businesses don't appreciate it. And when you clean it up, please don't put them in the back of your truck, because a gentleman lost a brand new crew cab 3500 Denali because he was very responsible and put them all in a box in the back of his brand new truck, and the truck caught on fire. So, and I probably get half a dozen house fires because people are really responsible, clean them up, and they put them in the trash bin that's plastic right up against the house. Please don't do that. Put them in a bucket of water, soak them with water, and wait till the next day, because those coals can stay hot in there. You don't even know because they're so deep embedded in there. So just stuff like that, some basic tips. If we get to the high red flag warnings and some more scientific data, that's when I will meet with the county executive to see if we're still going to discharge on July 4th. With the new criteria that's in the code. So we got a ways to get there. I haven't had to do it yet, but it's in code. Like if the conditions get too bad and we have those red flag warnings and high fire dangers, then that's certainly a tool we can use to stop that. Any questions on fireworks?
Any questions on the firework discharge? Committee Member Hitchen.
Thank you, Chair. 2 questions. One, I just want to check on an assumption. I did not go look in the code, and I didn't talk to Ms. Kelly. It is illegal to discharge fireworks from a moving vehicle, I assume.
I assume it is. That'd be a law enforcement question, but I would say yes, it would be illegal and very reckless.
Agreed. Just the trucks catching on fire brought it to mind, but we had a community member driving around my neighborhood in Parkland last year, launching 180s or 80 M80s out of their vehicle, which is a whole nother thing. But
Yeah.
I would just assume any firework out of a moving vehicle is a bad idea.
Horrible
I don't know
idea.
if there's actually code saying that you can't, so it's curiosity. The second one is clarifying, so mortars, so the ones that shoot the large explosives, are those legal technically in Pierce County
It
or,
would depend on the size,
okay,
yeah. Because there's numerous different sizes and categories of them. Some of the smaller ones are, the larger ones are not.
okay. Is there a way to tell? I mean, when you're buying them, you can tell, but like if I'm watching them.
I
and
think I have a list of them on my on the Fire Prevention Bureau website of all the legal fireworks are listed on there.
Okay, I'll go double check.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if anybody comes across a stand that is selling illegal fireworks, we inspect them all. If somebody could tell me, we'll make sure that stand is not selling anything, because I'll pull their permit if we find that they're selling illegal fireworks. We haven't ran into that yet, but if it happens, that's certainly, we can close their stand and take their permit and just take them off the list. So.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for those questions. I had a quick question. Oh, no, Committee Member Morrell got a question. I'll let him go first.
Sorry for coming in late, Mr. Chair, but you had brought up stands. Are you limiting the amount of applications and permits that you issue in Pierce County?
There's a limit in code by the amount, it's driven by population.
Okay, so,
I don't think I think we usually hit about half that number, because I think the number last year was like 71 or somewhere around there. We're usually, I think last year we did 37, I think we're at 41 this year, so.
okay. And then it's my understanding that with the mortar displays, that if they go up and explode, they're not
Legal?
legal?
Correct, if they explode, but some of the smaller mortars will just shoot like a spark tube up.
Right, so if it goes up and blows up,
Correct.
it's illegal?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I had a quick follow-up question on what you said about the amount of permits that are allowed. You said per population. Does it take into account of the non-state regulated fireworks stands? Because at any given time we have 80 to 100 in Pierce County.
Well, we will only deal with unincorporated.
Got it. Okay.
So I think those are the ones. Like I said, I think we had 37 last year, 41, so it does not take into account cities and towns.
Okay. What about, we have tribes that are unincorporated?
Negative. Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't take that into account either.
Okay. Appreciate your emphasis on the safety of things. You know, it was tragic with that one child, but at any given 4th of July, there's dozens of people who are getting hurt, adults and children. So appreciate you highlighting that.
My last year at Kitsap, one of my good friends who works there, his son blew 3 fingers off. It was an unlit mortar that he picked up, and it actually went off in the vehicle, so luckily nobody else in the vehicle was injured.
I've seen that.
But when he went over to the hospital that night to Harborview, I think they had 17 amputations because of fireworks
It's every year.
every year.
Every year. So, okay, thank you. Committee Member Yambi.
This is more in response to Chair Hitchens' question, but I believe, I'm not a lawyer, but it looks like in Washington RCW, it's unlawful for any person to discharge or use fireworks in a reckless manner, which creates a substantial risk of death or serious physical injury to another person or damage to another property of another, and it looks like it's a gross misdemeanor.
I would say discharging out of a vehicle would be reckless.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that. And for the record, he already spoke, but Committee Member Morrell's here.
Next slide, please. Fireworks violations, South Sound 911 has their number to give a call up there. You can report online, you can call them, so that's a nice way to not overwhelm 911 because they're going to get plenty of calls, so they set up a separate line just for fireworks violations. Next slide, please.
Anybody have any questions on that one? That's a kind of, if we get any type of contact with our constituents, it's something along those lines. Committee Member Denson.
I don't know that I really have a question, Chair, but yes, I get lots of very frustrated residents that they are seeing the big fireworks, assuming they're illegal. They probably are. And enforcement is really hard because from what I've heard from our law enforcement professionals, they're like, if we're not right there, if we don't actually see them light it off, and of course by the time they get there, especially if folks know they're coming, they stop. So it's just incredibly frustrating. I don't know if there's any tips you can give, and I don't know if you know offhand the fines. We have fines. It's really hard to enforce the violations.
The enforcement part is a problem because, like you said, law enforcement's busy. I think they're stretched pretty thin still.
Yes.
And then, coming from that world, you're busy with a lot of other stuff. And without seeing them do that, and I think in all my years in law enforcement, I saw somebody do it. Like one time, I just happened to be there. It's rare. And I don't know. I just ask people to use the legal ones and, stay within their, just for respect out of your neighbors and people that don't really like fireworks, plus the safety part. If you're getting that other stuff, you don't know the amount of explosives in it, how it's going to react. Leave the big stuff to the professionals. That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Committee Member Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. If there's somebody, let's say somebody's doing a larger event, they have lots of people, that kind of thing, but it truly is a fire danger, could you potentially not just report that fireworks are going off, but call 911 and say potential fire and fire would show up? I feel like a fire truck driving through a said party might shut it down.
Yeah, and I'll never tell people not to call 911. If they think that's a true emergency and there's a fire hazard, go for it. And they can dispatch the fire department to take a look at it. And then the fire can request that one of my guys comes out. And I'll be on that night too. So we have no problem dispatching a deputy fire marshal or myself out if something like that's going on, to do a little further investigation where we have a little more time than probably the police when they get there. So happy to work in concert with them, and we're more than happy to come out and chat with people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question. All right, any other questions on firework violations? Okay.
The burn ban. So I think you all know this is the first year that we picked a date, and that date will be June 1st from here until I retire out of this bureau. It makes sense. It's fair, and I recognize last year that giving people a week's notice or so is not really fair to them. People they want to clean the property and burn their slash piles and do all that kind of stuff. So we started launching that message mid-April. And so far, we haven't had any complaints about our burn ban being instituted. So you can still do recreational fires in pits up to 3 feet in diameter. You can barbecue. If we don't get to the red flags, you can discharge your illegal fireworks. So we're trying to keep it where you can still enjoy the outdoors, but responsible. If we have to get to a stage 2 burn ban, then that would stop fireworks, and then that would stop all the yard land clearing, all the fires, recreational fires. But so far, we're just at a stage 1. And I think the early notifications has been really helpful. I've been working a lot with the Community Wildfire Prevention Plan. We just did a meeting on that in Gig Harbor. And the amount of people that live on this side of the mountain, I'll say, that don't understand the chance that we take every year on a huge wildland fire is astonishing to me. Even one of my neighbors. It's like, we have a wildfire threat over here. We have all the big green things burn. Yeah, it's just, we've lucked out. Like Stillicum Lake Park, was that last year, year before? We almost lost the whole neighborhood. If it had gotten the tree buffer, our firefighters are incredible, but you need equipment. Luckily, we had there was 2 aircraft close by and got that out. And right before I left Kitsap, some kids with fireworks were near Horseshoe Lake, and we almost lost the Christian kids camp over there. If it had got into that, they're all wood structures that are, really old. We would have lost it. There wouldn't have been. So I just want people to understand that the wildfire threat here is large. And on the east side, a lot of the fuel burns up every year. So we have the big fires over there, but a lot of times it's lower stuff. Here, if we get into a big tree buffer or a forest, Key Peninsula, a lot of these rural areas where the propensity is there. We just have to keep people, and I don't want to say vigilant, but definitely diligent about what they're doing, and just pay attention. Like even if you have the recreational fire, put it out. I think that might be on the next slide. I think we talked about. Oh, weed burns. I'll get that in a minute. But if you have a small fire, put water on it when you're done. Stir it up. I've had people tell me, oh, the coals were all white. We thought they were cold. I'm like, no, they're actually probably really hot. Internally, especially, it depends on what you're burning too. You know, you have a big log in there, the inside of it's going to be embers for a long time. So you really, and then all it takes is the wind to pick up a few of those and move them into a forest area, and then we have a big problem. So.
A question,
Sure.
Real quick on the land clearing burns. I mean, that's something I remember when I was a kid. I don't really see that much anymore. Even slash pile burning.
Yeah, it's rare. Most people now, if they have that much debris, they'll get a tub grinder out there, grind it up, and they just put it right back in the soil, which is the perfect thing to do with it. Yeah, we rarely get slash pile burning, but and land clearing.
Okay, thank you.
Next slide. Weed burners. I bring this up because they seem to be very popular. And last week we lost 2 houses. So what happens is, I don't know if you guys have used them, they hook to a propane tank and you just burn the top of the weeds off. But fire travels root systems. That's how wildland fires spread. So both of these were 30, 40 feet away from the structures, and they thought everything was good, and then they went inside or left the house and got a phone call subsequently that their property was on fire. So if you are using these, once again, be very diligent about what you're burning. I would say when you're all done, soak that area with water. I mean, your weeds are going to grow back probably faster because you're feeding water. But if it gets in that ground system, it's dangerous. There's a lot of safe chemicals you can use for weed killing and all kinds of different tools. Weed burners, and like I said, I brought it up. I probably had a dozen at Kitsap, and we had 2 last week. So if people are running, just tell them to pay attention, please. Yeah.
That's great advice, because I have a neighbor who's 98 years old, and he's a World War II veteran, and he loves his weed burner because he can't get down and get those weeds. And I'm just happy that he's not using oil. No,
Sure.
That's what we used to do in the old days, but quite interesting. Community member Hitchin.
Used oil? I'm super.
Oh, yeah, old motor oil used to be the weed killer of the day.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
Okay. So are weed burners legal during a burn ban? My brain says it should not be, but I'm getting mixed messages, so.
Technically, it is not illegal to have one during a burn ban because it's a
That seems
controlled
like a
open
flaw.
flame. So maybe next year we can put that one in there.
Because like the whole point of not throwing stuff in like our open fires is so stuff doesn't fly away. And if I'm walking around setting my weeds on, okay. For another year, Andrea.
Interesting. Thank you.
I think, anything else on there? I think that might have been it. Oh, wildland tires. I mean, we talked about it. Be careful. And like some of the stuff people don't think of, weather conditions, I think that's at the top of everybody's list. We know it's hot, it's dry, windy. Cold fires, like I said, put water on them. If they're cold, they're not going anywhere. And some people are in a hurry just to throw a little dirt on them or stir them up, but get them good and wet and saturated. Then we know it's going to work. Dry grass is another one. People don't realize how hot catalytic converters get on vehicles, exhaust, whether it's an ATV or your side-by-side or your car, your truck. Be careful parking on dead grass. It catches on fire really fast, and then your car catches on fire, and then we have a big problem. Equipment maintenance. Quite often you'll be going down the highway and you'll see somebody with a chain that's bouncing on their trailer. Perfect way to set, like, I think I had 10 in a row going down Highway 16 when I was at Kitsap. Safety chain, just bouncing, throwing sparks. Exhaust on some diesels that aren't maintained really good will start to shoot stuff out the exhaust, and you can start the fire. So equipment maintenance is big. Even chainsaws, anything you're using that can throw a spark out, you have to be cognizant about that when you're cutting in the forest or a field or something like that. It can go sideways really fast on you. Natural fire starters. Gasoline is not a natural fire starter. Oil is not. Like We have to be, use stuff that's safe. We don't want flammable liquids out there because too many bad things can happen, not just spreading the fire, but the injury. If that fume gets back into the tank, and I've had 2 of those, and they were both fatalities. So flammable liquids are not used to start fires. Vigilant, pay attention. If you see unattended fires, or if you think there's a danger of a fire spreading, a small one, then call 911. The quicker we can get out there and get water on it, quicker we stop it. And then fireworks. In the forest, in the woods, in the field, not a place to shoot fireworks. They got a big open area, pavement, or over a lake or something. I know there's going to be debris going in, but we don't want you to shoot them in forest or in fields, where there's that propensity. Because when they land, they're hot. And you're going to set something else on fire. So, the season to pay attention. Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any other comments or questions? It's just short. Ms. Kelly's got one. Oh, no, we got, let me get Committee Member Denson's got a question first.
Just a quick comment. I run into people all the time who are like, I've lived here for 50 years. We don't have wildfires here. And they will just push back on me strongly. So having it come from somebody like you is really, really helpful. And to that point, are you guys going to put out videos or any educational things that I can share that they may listen to a little bit more?
I mean, we have some stuff on the website, and then I think Jessica's finishing up that community wildfire prevention plan. So I think she just sent it out as a rough draft to be looked at. So that's going to be really good at driving people to that type of information. And I guess you could remind them of Sumner grade.
Yeah.
That wasn't 50 years ago.
Great.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the fire services are busy day in and day out running medical calls and just doing their stuff. And a lot of people aren't trained in wildland response. We just met with DNR, and they're really geared up. They have a lot of aircraft on this side, and then they have a lot of contracts with private aircraft, so they can get moving. But there's a time delay, and like when I say a standard fire doubles about every 30 seconds, you get a good wildland fire going with a little back breeze into it, it's going to grow way faster than that. And then they got to try and catch it when they, and if it gets too bad, then we can't even get aircraft up to fight it. So, yeah, we want to prevent them while we can.
Okay. All right, Committee Member Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You reminded me of the Sumner grade fire. Did they ever come up with a cause for that one?
I don't know. I wasn't here for that one, but I will research it and find out.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Kelly, you had something?
Certainly. I was just going to follow up with the fines. So it is a Class 1 civil infraction if you are cited for illegal use of fireworks or use of illegal fireworks. And there are certain infractions that go by state RCW. This one specifically calls out for a county to have established its own amount. And the Class 1 civil infraction according to PCC 1.16120 is $600. So it is a significant fine.
So that's got a little bit of teeth to it. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask about, so you're in Public Works now.
Correct.
I can only imagine that Public Works maintaining our parks, keeping underbrush out of our, some of these areas that, because a lot of people try to use our parks when it comes to firework lighting. Have you talked to them a little bit about some of our infrastructures that may not be maintained as well? Because they have a lot of work to do when it comes to maintaining, when it comes to cutting grass and things like that.
They do, and I have not had that conversation with them yet. I know there's a new director coming on board here pretty quick, so then we'll get everything vetted out so I know who to actually sit with and have that conversation. I'm more on the planning side,
Sure.
But I have seen some that could use some attention.
Okay. But that every little bit helps. So
Yeah, absolutely, especially when there's dead brush and dead plants. Just that little bit of fuel is all you need to get one of those going, and then it's just going to be off to the races.
Committee Member Morrell sparked a question or a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To follow up on your question, we don't allow fireworks in our parks.
Correct.
So if they're there, then that's an easier one than trying to catch them shooting it off.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, but people do live around him, and he could catch some shrapnel, and we just, okay. All right.